Hello, America. It's Eric Erickson. Here are the four things conservatives need to know this afternoon before you get home. One housekeeping note before we begin. This is the last I'm going to be doing for the next week. I've got to participate in a fundraiser for Children's Healthcare of Atlanta tomorrow and Friday, and then we're taking family vacation next week. So this is it until after I return from family vacation. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast and go to Substack, ewerickson.substack.com, or if you want, text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. You can follow along all the social media links, get the show notes. I'll still be writing some on Substack while I'm on vacation. This week, the U.S. Department of Education has opened investigations into 5 major universities: the University of Louisville, University of Nebraska at Omaha, University of Miami, and University of Michigan and Western Michigan University for scholarships that allegedly give preference to illegal alien students, specifically recipients of DACA and other so-called Dreamer programs. The core allegation: these schools are excluding American-born citizens from scholarship opportunities simply because they are American citizens. This is a fundamental question of fairness. Our universities appear more concerned with checking every DEI box than they are with ensuring American kids who pay the taxes that fund state schools aren't discriminated against in their own country. Title VI of the Civil Rights Act should guarantee equal protection, not carve-outs for non-citizens. William Jacobson, the legal watchdog who helped bring these cases forward, summed it up, quote, "Discrimination against American-born students must not be tolerated." The Education Department's move indicates a willingness to finally challenge the progressive dogma that's overtaken our institutions of higher learning. We'll see whether actual accountability follows, but for parents sending their kids to college, it's worth asking, why are American students now the ones having to fight for equal access in their own public universities that they themselves pay for? It's a real question that we need to answer. Former North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper has decided to enter the Senate race there. Sources tell Axios that within the next week, Roy Cooper is going to announce his candidacy for the Senate. This is an open seat in North Carolina, as Tom Tillis, the Republican Senate incumbent, has decided not to seek re-election. Now, don't miss the underlying dynamic. While the D.C. media can gush about Cooper's moderate reputation, which he has, his actual record is packed with vetoes of pro-life legislation, pro-gun legislation, and parental rights legislation. North Carolina, though purple, voted for Donald Trump multiple times. The real question for conservatives: will the Republicans nominate a candidate who can draw sharp contrasts on issues like border security, education, the economy, and resisting D.C. overreach without alienating the suburban, independent-minded North Carolina voters who've been splitting their ticket a lot? Meanwhile, the spotlight is also on one potential Republican entrant, especially Laura Trump, who's reportedly mulling a run herself. North Carolina again becomes a national bellwether. The stakes couldn't be higher for the direction of the Senate and the future of conservative priorities. Republicans have got to get the right nominee in this race who's a good fit for North Carolina. Nearly 3 years after the horrific stabbing murders of 4 University of Idaho students, justice has finally been served. Brian Kohberger, who pled guilty earlier this month, was sentenced this afternoon to 4 consecutive life terms with no possibility of parole, plus 10 more years for related burglary charges. The family members of the victims, Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Goncalves, offered gut-wrenching statements in court. This is the sort of justice system outcome that, frankly, Americans expect and want: swift, certain punishment for the most heinous acts, without unnecessary grandstanding or years of endless appeals. Some families did want the death penalty, but others were mindful of the emotional toll and the dragging out of the case should a death penalty case move forward. They felt the plea deal brings needed closure. There's one thing we got to point out, though. There's no sugarcoating what the families there endured. The fear that gripped the tight-knit Moscow, Idaho community when this was going on, it's a sober reminder violent crime hasn't disappeared. All too often, innocent families are left trying to pick up the pieces. The justice system isn't perfect, but here justice was done. Justice will be served, and that guy will never get out of prison. Last today, we've got to talk about home prices. They've hit an all-time high. The middle class is feeling the pinch. If you're frustrated by the housing market, you're not alone. In June, the median existing home price in America hit a record $435,300, marking the 24th straight month of year-over-year price increases. Even as home sales slumped to their lowest levels in decades, existing home sales dropped another 2.7% last month. The culprit? Years of underbuilding, stubbornly high mortgage rates now nearing 7%, and too much red tape strangling new supply. Here's the reality on the ground. The market is locked tight. New buyers are priced out. Sellers won't budge on price, making affordability a crisis for the middle class. Even as mortgage rates climb, supply didn't recover because it's still too expensive and difficult to build in many blue state urban centers. And to people who have great mortgage rates in the 1 to 2% mark, they're not giving up their current homes for high rates. Washington refuses to fix the regulatory bottlenecks, and Bidenomics, frankly, still keeping inflation up. The result is a housing squeeze that leaves working Americans stuck on the sidelines, barely able to dream of homeownership. Until leaders start valuing affordable and prudent regulation over politics and endless stimulus, don't expect relief. We're going to have some big cuts in the interest rate from the Federal Reserve just to get people out of their current houses if they want to upgrade. Nobody wants to leave when they've got a 0% mortgage, basically, and they'd be looking at a 7% mortgage if they moved. So old houses are not coming up for resale to young families. That's the 4 things you need to know this afternoon. For the full rundown, including analysis and more stories, go to ericerickson.com, subscribe to the show, check out youtube.com/EWErickson, and text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Stay informed, stay engaged, and please keep the faith. Thanks for listening. I'll be back after next week.